Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you are new to me, it's the first time you're seeing my face. Hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So that's why you're here, because that's what's going to be happening. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in and continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my November wrap up. Yes, it's that time of the year again, guys, where I sit back and I review everything that I've read and be reminded of everything I didn't read. And since I participated in Nice to Me November and it worked out to my advantage, I'm actually really happy with the way this month turned out. So without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talking some books. Okay, so let's just get right into it. The book I did not touch on my TBR, which I will link my November TBR in the down box below, was Kingdom of Ash. I am reading this for the SJM read-along. However, I am not upset that I have not touched this yet because the live show is actually in the middle of December. So I still have time to complete it before the live show. And I'm not upset that I didn't get to it because it was nice to me November, guys. I was being nice to myself and I got sick not once, but twice this month. Like sick. So I'm very happy that this is the only book that I did not touch, but I do plan on picking it up very, very soon. And I did start Valor by John Gwynne. This is the second installment in the Faithful and the Fallen series. And I am not as far into it as I would like because there are 3 pages of character descriptions. 3. And I may or may not have forgotten a lot of the first book and didn't realize it. So it's going a little slower for me than I expected, but I'm still having a good time with it. What I have read and what I'm comprehending and remembering, as it's slowly coming back, this is starting to turn out to be a very fast-paced, in-your-face, multi-POV book, and I am super excited about it. Super excited. So, yes. But what I did complete looks a little something like this. Yes, I completed 12 books this month, and as you can see, they are all time-stamped. So if there's a specific book on this list that you really want to check out, can feel free to hop to it. I will hyperlink everything in the down box below so you know where to go. However, if you would like to stay with me throughout the total of the video, I would adore that as well. Just be warned that I do not go into as deep of depth on all these books as I do in my weekly wrap-up series, which I have linked up here in the corner for you guys. That is where I go into like hardcore, in-depth, what works, what doesn't work, my likes, my dislikes, summaries, the whole 9 yards, my rants, my gushes, all of it. That's where I do all that stuff. Here, it's just a really quick synopsis of the book, a little bit about what worked, what didn't work, very, very minimal, because I have so much to talk about and my videos are already kind of long to begin with. So if something here interests you and you want to jump to it, feel free. If not, stick with me to the end and I will see you guys there. So I'll be right here the entire time. So, forget that. Let's talk some stats. How's that? So as I do with all my wrap-ups, I like to start these out with my stats for the month, and my total completed reading for this month was a total of 12 books. I had 4 physical, I had 5 ebooks, and 3 audios. I read a total page count of 1,866 pages, and my listening time was 23 hours and 27 minutes. And all 12 completed books gave me an average rating of a 3.67. So not bad at all. Not the greatest month, but not bad. And for everything that happened this month with the holiday, with deer camp, with me being sick, with basketball regionals, with all of, the adulting stuff, I think I did pretty good and I'm pretty proud of myself. So let's get into the books. Now, I do have my notes over here on my laptop, so there is a glare. I am sorry. I will try to minimize it as much as possible. So the first book I completed was Rebellion by Shioban Davis, and it looks like this. This is the second installment to the Sainthood Boys of Lowell High, which is a dark high school romance. I experienced this through audiobook, and it was done by Ramona Masters and Wen Ross, and I'm very happy to say that Wen Ross makes an appearance in this installment, as he is the reason I bought these books, was because Wen Ross was narrating them, and he did not appear in the first book, which very much upset me, but he's in this one. This is a reverse harem, or why choose, in trope, and we do show triggers for domestic assault and human trafficking, and they are graphic, so please be warned. So a summary, as this is the second installment, the summary is a little hard to kind of talk about without spoiling the first book because this is a direct sequel. Where the first book ends, this one picks up immediately from that point. But what we essentially have is Harlow escapes a death style situation and is now training to become a saint, which is what her harem of men, that is their gang, the saints, the sainthood. And now she is being indoctrinated into it as the first female. We further build on bigger plot points. The main one is how to rid the world of the sainthood. That is an underlying plot point throughout the entire of the series, and we get more further in depth with it. And there are some massive twists and a major cliffhanger at the end of this installment, just like the first one. So this one was definitely a ride, but it wasn't as in your face as the first one for sure. But the twists and cliffhangers are still on point and awesome. So what worked in this book? We got more backstories with more of the guys. So now we have a backstory with every single member of the group, and it does make that picture with Harlow and all of them a little bit more playable. It's a lot more enjoyable because those backstories, the ones that we received in this book, were a lot more emotional and a lot more endearing and seemed to matter a hell of a lot more to her. So we do get to see Harlow in a different light in this book, which does kind of make her more of a tolerable character in my book. I still am not a huge fan of her, but after seeing those backstories and how she handles them, she's starting to grow on me just a little bit. The twists and turns of this one definitely keep you on your toes, keep you engaged. Definitely one you got to pay attention to. And then also the reveals that Shioban Davis did in this book were a lot smoother. They were a lot cleaner. They weren't as choppy and jagged as they were in the first book. I feel like she definitely refined herself in this one. So I'm really hoping that that only carries on throughout the entirety of the series. And it just keeps getting better and better, because definitely those reveals were 10 times better than they were in the first book. However, there are still things in this book that didn't work. Like I said, Harlow is becoming a little bit more tolerable, but she's still really bitchy and pretty smug. And she's just a hard character to get behind. She's very hard to get behind, but I've been told by multiple people who have read the entirety of the series that by the end of the series, I will enjoy her. And seeing that I'm kind of more tolerant of her in this installment than I was in the first one, because the first one I hated that bitch, hated her. This one I'm kind of like, okay, maybe. So hopefully that will continue, and I will be part of that group that can actually get behind Harlow, because right now I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is so special about you? Seriously, I don't get it. Which leads me to the next thing that I didn't think worked, is that you have you have this group of severely alpha men. I mean, they take no prisoners. They don't share, you're mine, you're stereotypical alpha hole, but yet this bitch is okay to share with these certain guys. And I'm just like, what is so special about her? And every single guy has said multiple times, just something about her, just something about this girl. And like, they don't even know what's so special about her. So I'm kind of like, that kind of irritates me. I'm hoping that will get revealed later on. We'll get some more of that, the emotional attachment components and of why, maybe some description. And the other thing I didn't think worked in this book is the male perspective in this book was awesome. When we got the male perspective, it was fantastic. I think this book could have benefited a lot more from more of the male perspective, for sure. And I'm really hoping that gets fixed in the third installment as well. Spice rating, the spice was there. The sex scenes were there. They were on point. Saint, still my favorite. He's doing his little possessive thing. I like him. I like him a lot. I like it. He's a good dude. I like him. So definitely on point. I think I gave this a 4 on the chili pepper scale. I'm not 100% sure, like a 3 or a 4 chili pepper. But spice is definitely there. There's no skimping on it, for sure. All right, the next book I completed was actually for Readsy Discovery, and that was a Salient in Flanders by Alan R.M. Thrush. And I do have a full book review on it. I will link it up here for you guys as well. I did this for Readsy Discovery, so I don't really talk about those anywhere except in that review. But just so you know, that full review is up and going, so please go check that out. And this is a World War I historical fiction. We have triggers for wartime experiences, drama, blood, guts, gore, the whole 9 yards. This thing was fantastic. 4.5 stars, and I had such a good time with this one. It was, please, if you are into World War I historical fiction, please go read this. It gave me All Quiet on the Western Front feels, and I feel like it is just as strong and could stand this test of time, just as All Quiet on the Western Front did. It was excellent. I had such a great time with this one. So definitely recommend it if you like historical fiction. But if you want an in-depth review, go check that review out. The next book I read and completed was this guy. This is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, the 6th installment to the Throne of Glass series. And I am reading this for the SJM read-along, where we are reading all of Sarah J. Maas's published works in publication order to find attachments and connections. And that is hosted by Jen over the Book Refuge, who will be linked down below, because she's pretty much linked in any video of mine, because I love her. And I'm always reading a Sarah J. Maas book. So, yes. So she'll be linked down below, so go check her out. She's amazing. She's a rock star. I did a full reading vlog on this one, and I will link it up as well, so you can see up there. And I had a great time with this. It was 5 stars. This is Croxall's story. And so we don't see really any of the main cast in this. I know a lot of people say that this is like their least favorite installment. This is probably my favorite installment. I fucking loved this. I loved this one so much. I had such a great fucking time with this one. Oh my God. This is the Croxall that I picked in the beginning. I went back and watched my beginning weekly wrap-ups when I started this series, and saw the video where I claimed I'm Team Croxall, I'm Team Croxall. This is the Croxall that I was claiming. This is the guy that I always knew was fucking there. And did he bring it? He is not perfect. He is not healed entirely, but he is imperfectly perfect, and I fucking adore him. Oh my God, this was such... It gave me such a good footing for Kingdom of Ash, which I will be picking up very, very soon. I'm excited about it. I'm nervous that it's coming to the end of the series, but I'm excited, and I couldn't have asked for a better installment. Now, with that being said, I am reading these with the series already completed, already out. I can understand, after reading Empire of Storms, for the people who read this when they first came out, why you're pissed off that this is the next installment. I can totally get it and understand why. But for me, this is it. This is fucking amazing. I mean, this entire series has pretty much been almost 5 stars for me. But this thing, yeah, this is by far my favorite of the Throne of Glass series so far. I love this story. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Such a good time. Such a good time with this one. The next book I completed was Jessie by J.A. Huss, and it looks like this. I gave this 4 stars, and this is the first installment to the Bossy Brothers series. Another audiobook done by Ava Erickson and Teddy Hamilton. And Teddy Hamilton and Ava Erickson did fantastic. They were a great combo. This is a billionaire romance where both the male and female are billionaires. And we have kind of a sort of mafia twist. We think it's mafia. We're not 100% sure. And it is a second chance romance. And we also have a bachelor auction trope. So, Emma Dumas buys Jesse Boston in a billionaire auction for payback after he ghosted her and broke her heart way back in the day at Key West. She took that heartbreak and turned it into a multi-million-dollar makeup industry and bought the fucker and decided payback's a bitch. And this thing just goes from there. But payback is not just a bitch to Jesse, because Emma fucking gets it too. God damn, this thing was a ride. I had such a good time with this one. Plan on completing the rest of the series. So much fun. What worked in this? Emma's character. Emma is a straight up badass. There is one scene, and it is a hate sex scene, and she plays that so fucking well. Oh my God. And it's early on, so I'm just like, motherfucker, I'm gonna love this bitch. I love her. I love her. Oh my God, fantastic. I could not get enough of her character. Had a great time with her. The banter between Emma and Jesse, this one-upping throughout the entire of the book, like who can make the other one more uncomfortable in this like pseudo, because she buys him for the weekend, so they had to stay together for the weekend, and it's just, oh, it's so fucking great. Jesse puts her through the ringer. Emma puts him through the ringer. Ah, it's fucking poetry. It was great. Ah, loved it. But there is definitely some twists and turns in this book that makes it go really dark in a really weird, creepy way. This cloak and dagger element to it, which is something that didn't really work. I mean, you could have had this story and taken the cloak and dagger element out and still had a fantastic effing story. But the fact that it doesn't really get resolved and the characters don't even understand what's going on. Like, literally, the characters have no idea. They just do it. It's like, I was shown this one day, and I'm supposed to do it. And that's how it is. So, there's this big cloak and dagger element that really doesn't have any bearing on the story, but Emma's reaction in that, dope as fuck. Okay? She is that bitch that sees something and she's like, yeah, you're kind of creepy. Your family's kind of fucked up. And I want nothing to do with this. I'm taking you. I'm taking your shit. You're moving in. Fuck this shit. I'm out. And she's out. And I fucking loved her. I loved her. I cannot tell you how much I loved Emma. She was awesome. If you want a good time, this is a good fucking time. And we do have a spice rating on it. I gave it 2 chili peppers. This hate oral sex scene in the beginning. Oh my God, it was fucking brilliant. Teddy Hamilton is voicing Jesse. And Jesse says this line that I cannot do it justice. I cannot. Because it's that well done. So if you get this book, check it out on audio, you will know the line when it's said, and you will understand why that thing has a permanent place in the FTD bank. All right? Permanent fucking place in that fingers, tongue, and dick bank. Permanent place. That thing was fucking dope. And I loved it so much. And I loved Emma in that scene because she owned that shit. God, she was great. Definitely recommend this. Cannot wait to continue with the rest of the series. The next book I completed was, and I don't have it with me, Promises and Pomegranates. And it looks like this. I don't apparently know where my copy's at. I buddy read this with Becky at BeckX Reads, and I'll link her down below. This is also my Smut Club book of the month, and I will link that live show down below as well because it has already aired. This is the first installment in the Monsters and Muses series, and it is a Hades and Persephone retelling. We have a forced marriage trope, and there is an age gap, and we have triggers for blood play and graphic sexual content, gang violence, drugging, assault, and misophonia. If you are not familiar with misophonia, that is a condition where sounds will actually cause anxiety or panic attacks and things of that nature. So we do have some mental health representation in this book as well. I gave this installment 4 stars. And I actually had a good time with this. A lot of people didn't, but I had a really good time with this one. We meet Elena Reese and Cal Anderson. They hook up on Christmas and it gets videotaped and used as blackmail against Elena's family, who happens to be mafia. And to protect his daughter, the mafia boss of the Reese family agrees to let Cal marry Emma or Elena. And Cal is that guy. He's just like, I got the okay, let's do this. So he marries her in a forced marriage on her original wedding day to her fiance while he is dying in bed behind her because he offed him. That's the start of the book, guys. Yeah. Cal's that guy. And I fucking love him. Oh my God, I loved Cal. Oh, he was fantastic. This is where our story starts off, and then we just get this fucking sex-induced, drenched, sopping wet book the rest of the time. This book is straight smut, but the sex scenes is actually where a lot of the major plot development point conversations take place. So when I say sex runs this book, I literally mean sex is running this book. What worked, definitely the chemistry between Cal and Elena. I thought it was there. I had a great time with it. Cal's character, fucking fire. Love this guy. He is dark and does not give a fuck at all. He's that guy. Oh my God. I loved him. And he was all about Elena's vagina. Like, he fucking devours her on the daily, multiple times. This man's a giver, and I like him. Round of applause in my book. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. He was awesome. Loved him. Loved him. Loved him. Loved him. Oh, he was such a giver, guys. I did recommend this book in my Giving Alphas, and I will link that video up there and down below for you guys as well if you want to go check it out, about alpha men that are just so giving that we have to be thankful for. Well, this is one of the ones I'm thankful for. So, another element that worked was Miller definitely invoked the villainous of Elena's family. She wrote them to be the villains, and I definitely fucking hate them. She did a damn good job of making the real villains the villains. She did a fantastic job with that. What didn't work? There was a few things in here that didn't really work. The twist ending that leads into, I'm assuming, a next installment, that was just fucking out of left field. Like, that character didn't appear anywhere else in the book. I don't know what to do with that ending, except read the next book, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's so out there. It's ridiculous. But the main thing that I feel did not work and kind of pissed me off about this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it didn't have to be. The few elements that really gave the Hades and Persephone feel were enough. But what Miller does is she actually has Anderson and Elena refer to themselves as Persephone and Hades and taking her to his underworld. Like, she is forcing this storyline in there, and it didn't have to be. We have Elena drinking some pomegranate syrup on a plane in a martini, and she uses pomegranate shampoo. Just these subtle little nods were enough for me to convey the original, the representation of Hades and Persephone. It was enough. I didn't need it to be forced down my throat, which pissed me off because Hades and Persephone is one of my favorites. So don't do that. That was crap. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. It was not cool. This got a 4 on the chili pepper scale. Super spicy. Like I said earlier, we do have triggers for blood play. There was this marking thing that Cal and Elena did, which was pretty fucking dope. And then there was the consuming of each other's blood, which I thought was pretty sweet as well, especially in the area that it was at. This is heavy on the oral sex from male giving to female perspective. When I say all the time, I mean every single oral sex scene was described differently, just written differently, but it was there. I knew what the fuck he was doing, and he very much loved his wife's vagina. Loved it. Loved it. The dirty talk in this book. It was amazing. It was so fucking good. And it also helped the dirty talk and the multiple locations of sex scenes, especially the theater scene. Oh, that theater scene, that thing was fucking dope. That is a kick-ass scene. It is worth reading the whole book for. It is awesome. And it is a major plot point scene. And it's all done while they're having sex. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this installment. I did. And I do plan on continuing with the rest of the series. And then you also have Cal's dominance, which is super there, super on point, and super, super sexy. And I love him. And now he's one of my favorites. Yep. Sure is. For surezies. So, the next book I completed was Owned by a Mountain Man by Gemma Weir. And it looks like this. And I gave this 3 stars. This is the second installment to the Montana Mountain Men series. It was an audiobook done by Kurt Bonham and Avery Karras. Fantastic audio. Had no problems with the audiobook whatsoever. We have an alpha hero with extreme dominance and emphasis of ownership of a whole person. Graphic use of sex toys, experiencing with dildo, anal plug, and vibrator. We got a lot of fun toys in this one. This is definitely a kinky one. And we have an age gap of 13 years. And this one features a breeding kink. So if you are into breeding kinks, this is a book for you. And if you are not familiar with a breeding kink, that is the experience of intense sexual attraction at the thought of being impregnated or impregnating someone. And the breeding kink is on the perspective of our hero. So in the eyes of impregnating someone, that's where the breeding kink is coming through. We also have triggers for forced pregnancy and kidnapping. So this summary picks up right where the first installment, Property of a Mountain Man, ended, but we are following a different brother of the Barnett boys. We are following Huck, and this is Huck and Cora's story. Huck is 34, and Cora, who was Bonnie from the first installment's best friend, is 21. Huck encounters Cora at the end of the first book at the bar, and he makes sure she gets home safe. And when he finds her hideaway key underneath her doormat, it sets him off. He can't tolerate this. He's like, why isn't someone taking care of her? Why isn't somebody watching over her? And this book literally starts off with Cora waking up to all of these text messages from Huck saying, why isn't anybody watching out for you? Text me when you wake up. All this stuff, like super, super like intense. Dude, back the fuck up. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm safe. But Huck, because all the Barnett boys are like this. They have this extreme dominance and obsession to own and possess and control. When he sees Cora, that switch has finally snapped in him and Cora becomes his target. And so he just cannot relinquish this idea that no one is taking care of her, no one's watching out for her. So he takes it upon himself to do it and just forces his way into her world, and 0 to 100. 0 to 100, guys. And that's where our story kind of kicks off, with him forcing himself into her world, fully engulfing himself. I mean, showing up at her house, making her dinner, taking her to her car, calling her everything. Everything you think good boyfriends would do, except she didn't ask for a boyfriend. He's just doing it. And she's just kind of like, okay, so what the fuck you do in my house, guys? Like, what? But she is extremely attracted to Huck, and she wants some super sexy fun time. And we get it. We get it in this book. Oh, yes, we do. But what worked in this book was the continuity with the storylines. Picks up right from the previous installment. Huck's dominance, his obsession, his controlling, it is there, it is on point, it is obvious, and you love it. You do. I wanted to love Huck so bad. Oh my God, you have no idea how bad I want to love this man. I do, because he has all the qualities that I love in my alpha heroes. All of them, except one. There's one thing that he does that I just can't get behind, but we'll get to it. The dirty talk in this. When Cora and Huck get their super sexy fun times, that dirty talk. I needed a lot longer than a couple minutes, guys. That shit was great. Damn. Yeah. I needed to pause it after a couple of their sex scenes because I literally needed to calm down. Like, they were fire. Oh, they were good. And what worked? The catalyst for the third act breakup in this. For this story and for Huck's character, it worked. It carried the story on. It kept me on my seat. It kept me engaged. It kept me wanting to know how this was going to get resolved and how this was going to figure itself out with an HEA. I wanted to know. However, it also didn't work for me, but that is my own personal preference. So Huck is very dominant, obsessive, controlling, and he wants to breed Cora. He wants to own her entire person, not just her heart. He wants to own her heart, her mind, her body, her uterus. Okay. like I said, this has a forced pregnancy trope. There is a moment where Huck starts giving Cora her birth control pills, and Cora thinks he's just being a safe, protective boyfriend. And instead of giving her the actual pill, he's giving her the placebo week, which if you've been on the pill, or if you're not familiar with the pill, there are specific pills that are designed for the hormones, and then there's like a sugar week to keep you in the habit of taking the pill. I have never seen a birth control packet where the placebo week is the same color, but I have been recently informed that they do exist. And so I retract that statement. They are out there, but I have never seen one. So when I read this book, I was like, how in the fuck do you not realize you're taking the fucking placebo? How? So that really irritated me because Cora's character is kind of put together. She's very concerned about how she looks. And she's the one that was very about the condoms, about the contraception, everything like that. She was the one that brought all that stuff up. So to completely relinquish control to that area, it does bother me. It does. And the fact that Huck is straight up lying to her. Lying. It's not so much what he's doing, it is how he is doing it. Because there are many times in this book where he says, she's going to be pissed. In his internal monologue, she's going to be pissed when she finds out. She's going to be so angry, but I don't care. He doesn't care that he is lying to her. And he is feeding her something that she believes is protecting her. So I couldn't, that's what stopped me from getting behind Huck. Now, if you like forced pregnancy, breeding kinks, this is a book for you. And I gave it 3 stars because all of these elements worked really well in the story. It just wasn't for me. But I do plan on continuing with the rest of the series because I like the way Gemma Weir writes her heroes. And like I said, I really want to fucking like Huck. I really fucking want to like him. But I can't get behind the line. That's a thing for me. It's a thing. It is a thing. Now, but these sex scenes, 4 Chili Peppers. Oh yeah, graphic language interlaced with dominance and ownership language. So on point, so there. Oh my God. Yes, yes. They were fantastic. And we get many graphic scenes of use of toys, especially an anal plug that was used. And that thing was dope and awesome. And I loved it. It was so great. Oh my God. That was a fun time. That scene was fucking fire. Loved it. Love a man that's not afraid to make his woman happy with her toys. Good on you. They are your friends, not your enemy. All right, there you go. So definitely, I do recommend this if you can tolerate breeding kinks and you can tolerate forced pregnancy and you can tolerate a hero that lies. If you can tolerate that, this book is awesome. It is great. It is a good fun read. It is entertaining. But if you do not like those things, I recommend staying away from this and maybe continuing with the rest of the series. I do plan on continuing with the rest of the series because I do enjoy the way Gemma Weir writes. And I'm kind of anxious to see what she does with the other Barnett brothers and see where she goes with those. So, the next book I completed was Not a Perfect Save by Ivy Hunt. It looks like this. I gave it 4 stars. This is the second installment to the Wrong Place, Right Time series. It's a football romance, and we have a damsel in distress trope and robbery situations with a guaranteed HEA. So we have Ella Dixon, who's held at gunpoint during a local pharmacy robbing, and Connor Hall, who's a pro football player, 2-time Super Bowl winner, who happened to be this pharmacy at the same time. Ella uses some self-defense techniques that she knows to get away from her attacker, and Connor tries to swoop in to try to restrain him and keep him away. But in the process, he hurts his ankle, which he is currently healing from. He has re-injured it. So after the police come and the robbery is ended, they go to the hospital, get checked out. Ella agrees to go home with Connor because she doesn't want to stay in the hospital, and she has to stay for observation because they think she might have a concussion. And she doesn't want to stay in the hospital because it freaks her out, and she doesn't want to call her parents because they're overbearing. And Connor offers her to stay with him. Connor offers her to stay with him because she is doing him a favor by saying that he came to her rescue, and that is how he accidentally re-injured his ankle. He thinks that the NFL will agree to let him play more if they know that it was a good nature gesture and not like a forced reason to stay out longer, because he wants to go back to playing. And that's where our story kicks off, is when they actually get in that forced proximity for the brief moment that they are. What worked, the chemistry between Ella and Connor, it was right there from the get-go. It was. And when you see it, Ella's kind of doped up on some like painkillers, and it's hilarious. That chemistry comes through in a very hilarious way, very entertaining, had a good time with it. The ease of the relationship development, the way this relationship developed, there was a very natural tug and pull. One wanted something more, the other one didn't, but kind of did. It was a very natural, very normal feel for it, and I really, really enjoyed that, because sometimes you want to read something that you can 100% relate to. The later plot line, the casual kind of hookup relationship turning into more a serious relationship, I felt worked better than the original plot line. So the later one works better than the original one, getting them together. And the banter between Ella and Connor is awesome. They have a great banter back and forth with each other. What didn't work was kind of the explanation of why Connor needs to look like the hero and Ella can't look like a person who took care of herself, because they didn't really carry it through. Connor told everybody the truth anyway, except for this one press conference. So I didn't really understand the point of it. I didn't get it. Like, it didn't really seem necessary at all. We do have some super sexy fun times. So we do have a spice rating, and I gave it 2 chili peppers. There was very graphic language, but very vanilla in description. Very vanilla in like sexual scenario, but very graphic in language. And the intimate moments between them, the non-sexual moments, they were really, really steamy, because you felt like they were build-ups, but they were just really super intimate. And that was one of those moments when she was kind of doped up. There was some touching, there was some long looks, there was some internal monologues of, please move your hand lower. Oh, never mind, we're not going to do that. Damn it. Yeah, there was a lot of those that kind of kept your blood boiling for a while, and they were a good time. The next book I completed was Leif by Abbi Glines. This is a novella installment in Existence trilogy, and it falls between the first and second installment, or falls between book 2 and 3. This is Leif's story. This is Existence and Predestined pretty much from his perspective. I only gave this 1 star. You do not need to read this to understand the Existence trilogy at all, because it really doesn't further develop a damn thing at all. And I was really looking forward to this, because I like the other perspective. I love when I get the other perspectives. I get the whole story. But all I literally got was a few scenes from Existence and a few scenes from Predestined, literally regurgitated from Lake's viewpoint. So really no further development of his internal monologues. There was one during their little like mini kind of hookup scene, and I'm like, really? That's all I get? What? Yeah. It didn't really give a lot of further information about Leif's character. The little it did was nice, but it had no bearing. I mean, the most interesting concept was they actually hated Kendra. Like, he hated her guts, which I thought was kind of funny, because they had a fake date for a long time in Existence. So I thought that was kind of funny. This did not redeem Leif at all. Actually, kind of made him look more like a bitch. Like, seriously, he looked like a bigger pussy in this book than he did in the actual series. Like, it did not really redeem him at all. So that kind of sucked. But there is something I want to point out. This installment was only like 70 something pages, but when I went to go put on my Goodreads, every installment I found said it was like something like 82 pages. So I'm wondering if maybe I didn't have everything, because there is one major scene in Existence that we never even see in this, and you don't see it from Leif's perspective, and it's a major turning point scene for Pagan in the Existence series. So I'm just like, why don't I get his perspective on this? Like, he's literally holding her back from running to death. Why do I not see this? So I'm wondering if maybe I didn't get a right edition. So if you know, let me know. The next book I completed was, again, for the SJM read-along, and that was A Court of Frost and Starlight. Again, Jen will be linked down the down box below. She is the one who hosts the SJM read along. And this is the novella included in the ACOTAR series. It falls between ACA War and then A Court of Silver Flames. And is a nice little holiday installment. And this is the first winter solstice after the war. We're getting reacquainted with the cast. And we're setting up building blocks for A Court of Silver Flames. This thing put me in the best holiday building spirit. I thought it was great. I had a good time with this. I only gave it 4 stars because I could take it or leave it. I don't need it to enjoy the series, but it was nice to revisit my characters and see what was going on. I really enjoyed the tender moments with the family and seeing them in kind of a very much more relaxed state, not in this, you know, variable state of we're always on the defense, but at the same time we need to relax. Like I enjoyed the straight relaxive moments. I thought that was fantastic. I got to see different sides of different characters and I enjoyed that as well. And it felt like coming home. It felt like coming home. It felt like a little Hallmark Christmas movie. Thought it was great. I had the moment with Cassian and Feyre trying to decorate the hall when they were drunk. And that was great. Because I can totally see that. And Azrael coming in and saying, this is fucking awful. I have to go fix this now. God damn it. I thought it was great. I loved it. Had a good time with it. The only thing I didn't think worked in it is that Sarah did have to put some serious moments in this book to kind of build some building blocks. And I kind of wish she would have just stayed away from it. I kind of wish she would have just give us the nice fluffy book. You know, I kind of wish she would have, because we get to see Tamlin again, and I already knew he was broken, but I didn't realize he was broken. I mean, he's back to beast level, more of a beast than he ever was in A Court of Thorns and Roses, and that's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So it was hard. It was hard, some of those moments, and I kind of wish she just would have kept with the nice, fluffy, happy-go-lucky Christmas story, you know? Kind of wish she would have done that. We do have a spice rating, though, in this, even though it is super short. I mean, it's Rhys and Feyre. You can't go wrong with that. Go wrong with them. But there was only really one actual intercourse scene. We do have a coitus interruptus, which I was very pissed off at more on that. I was like, really? That was not nice of her at all. I did not appreciate that. So more was in the doghouse for that one for me. But we did definitely get the sex scene that I wanted, and it was great. It's Rhys and Feyre. You can't go wrong with them. Their sex scenes are always hot and great. And I loved Rhys in this book. Loved him because he was innuending the shit out of this book. Like, every line was some innuendo to Feyre, and all he fucking wanted was to go be buried in his wife. Like, that's all that man wanted. He didn't give a shit about anything. He's like, can I just go get laid? Like, it's all I want. I want you all at winter solstice. I want you to quit bitching. I want her sisters there, and I want to go fuck my wife. All right? That's what I want. Anything else? Talk to me later, because I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, so I really like Rhys in this one for sure. This was a good time. Nice little fluffy novella to kind of pick me up. I read a lot of these novellas when I was sick because they are kind of quick reads. So, yeah. After that, I picked up another novella. Go figure. I picked up another novella. And I picked up Sierra Simone's Midnight Mass, and I gave this thing 5 stars. I picked this up because I definitely want to read Sinner very, very soon. So I wanted to get this kind of out of the way, and I was reading all these other novellas, so I thought, what the hell, let me pick it up. And this is the novella that's included in the Priest series. It falls between book 1 and 2. And this is 2 years after Priest ends. And we have graphic sexual situations, exhibitionism, and we do have triggers for miscarriage and guilt and depression. So we have 2 years after the conclusion of Priest. Tyler Bell is working towards his dissertation, and he's almost done. He's like 5 days away from delivering it, so he's in that final edits, final defense mode, super engrossed in it. And Poppy has spent all last year working diligently on this gallery opening. The honeymoon phase sexually is still there. They are still hot and heavy throughout this book, because this book definitely packs a punch in the sex department, for sure. But the emotional honeymoon stage is kind of drifted apart because Tyler and Poppy, they communicated, but they communicated very well through their bodies, through sex. And there was a lot of issues in this book that could not be communicated sexually. And the ones that could weren't getting communicated either because they were never together. They were always away, always apart, working on their own selves and their projects and things. So just a lack of communication within the workings of the relationship was kind of a major plot issue for this. And in these quiet moments, and his father, Tyler Bell, sorry, I keep calling Father Tyler, but it's just Tyler Bell now, sorry. In these quiet moments as Tyler Bell's working on his dissertation, the severity and the magnitude of what he did is starting to really seep in, and it's starting to sink in and giving him thoughts like, did I make the right call? Did I fuck it up again? Like, did I fail? Am I going to fail as a husband because I failed as a priest? All these just heavy thoughts on him, for sure, throughout this book. What worked? The continuation from his point of view. This is told primarily from Tyler's point of view. I really enjoyed that in the first installment, and it's continued. Tyler Bell's feelings about his life. I think the inner monologues that Sierra Simone gave Tyler in this book are inner monologues that would belong to someone who went through this, who did what he did. I feel like these are genuine and definitely from the heart. Okay, so this book is hella short, right? Hella short, but we do have a third act kind of breakup in it, and I fucking loved it because that was the conversation I should have had in book 1. This is the conversation where Tyler looks at Poppy and says, how dare you? How fucking dare you tell me I don't love you when I left my church for you? And he finally comes out and admits it, that he did it because of her. And she has to admit that she enjoyed bringing out the selfishness in him. And I knew it from day fucking 1. I knew it. I was so happy with this conversation. I felt validated. I felt happy because if you remember, I did not want the HEA and priest. I wanted him to be separated. I did not want him going back to Poppy. And that was the reason I didn't get 5 stars, because I did not want this HEA. And so going in this with perpetuating an HEA I didn't want, I was really nervous, but I got that fucking conversation. I got Tyler telling her, I fucking left my church for you. The only thing I've ever fucking been good at. And I left it for you. And you have the audacity to tell me that I don't love you. Oh my God. Oh. So fucking happy. I was so happy. I was ecstatic. But then, guilt. Because Catholics are built on bread, wine, and guilt. All right? That's what we're built on. Because now they're no longer together. And Poppy makes him happy. And she's not anymore. So I felt very lost after that fight. I was glad I had it, but I felt very lost and I didn't know what was going to happen with Tyler. And so Sierra Simone does something amazing with this point where she laces how oppressive the Catholic Church can be, but at the same time how forgiving and understanding it can be with the element that she uses to bring them back together, because we do have an HEA in this. But even after they get back together, their story was not done just yet. They still had trials and tribulations, and that's where this book really hit home for me and was hard, because there is a scene where Poppy says, it's my fault. It's my fault. And Tyler, in his internal monologues, says it's not her fault. She has to go through this because of what I did. She's paying for my mistake. And those conversations hit me really hard, and I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to bawl my eyes out in this. It hurt. This one hurt a lot, but it left me with hope. It left me wanting to know more of their story, and I really hope I'm not done with them. So I had a fan fucking time with this. I don't think there was a damn thing wrong with this installment. For as short as it was, it still packed a punch. It gave me more to a story that I love, and it gave me an ending that I can actually get behind. And Even though I still don't like her name, I'm glad Poppy and Tyler are together. And I really hope I get to see more from them. For sure. And it's Sierra Simone, so I definitely got the sex rating. 4.75 chili peppers. Oh yeah, this thing was fucking hot as hell. This thing burnt my fucking hands. Tyler Bell got another FTD scene, ladies and gentlemen. Got another one. At a Thanksgiving table. Nice little exhibitionist scene under the Thanksgiving table. That was fucking dope, and I loved it. It was great. I love how Sierra Simone uses their sex to convey their feelings, but in this book, she did transcend that, and now they actually can converse verbally about their emotions and situations without relying on sex, but she still uses sex to convey a lot of the fun emotions and things like that, and I love it. And the big sex scene was a hate sex scene. I just love reading hate sex scenes, and Sierra Simone wrote it fucking perfect because it is aggressive, it is dominant, it is mean, it is angry, it is vengeful, it is emotional, it is painful, it is brutal on both sides, and it is a room full of fucking mirrors, okay? It was delicious and awesome, and I loved every single fucking second of it. 5 stars. Loved it. The next book I read was X by Jack Croxall. This is another ebook novella that I picked up, and I read this for the alphabet challenge that I am trying to complete. I need a book for X. This was a little 28-page novella, but this thing packed a punch. I originally gave it 1 star, and after talking about it, I bumped up to 3 stars because of its creepiness level. We have a survivor trope told in like a diary format. This is a diary of a girl in her final days of what seems to be like a zombie apocalypse, and she calls herself X. And what worked is the creepiness factor. The fact that you know from the get-go that she, when this is done, she's no longer existence on the face of the planet. She's done. The entries are over. And just knowing that, so as you're reading this, knowing that this might be the last time she does this. This might be the last time she talks about this. The last time she experiences this. The last time she tastes this. It's a very creepy element. And I kind of wish I would have read this in October. Definitely an October read for sure. Super, super short. It was a good time, kept me on the edge of my seat, and I definitely want to pick up more from this author and see what else he has out there. I'm not a big zombie girl. I like witches, warlocks, vampires, werewolves. I like all that paranormal stuff. I was never really big into zombies, but this was good. This was a good time. There is absolutely no spice rating in this whatsoever. There was no sex in it whatsoever. And as for what didn't work, I feel like there's another book called We, and it's W-Y-E. And I feel like this is somehow tied together. So I want to go pick up that book and see if it is. So I feel like that's the only thing that really didn't work in this book is I feel like it belongs with another book. So I kind of read it at a sequential order, and that's just something that bothers me. But it's not listed as going with another book. It just feels like it based off that book synopsis. It feels like this is the book that kind of goes with it. And the last book I completed this month was this one. This is Full Sack by Layla Faye. I did a full reading vlog of this, and I will link it up in the corner for you guys as well. This is the newest release in Layla Faye's Monster Erotica Forever series. So I did not read this thing in order, but I wanted to get this up for Thanksgiving. It was a nice, fun Thanksgiving trick nice, fun Thanksgiving read. I had a good time reading Jack doing this at Halloween. This is Thanksgiving-themed erotica, graphic sexual situations, emphasis on oral sex because it's directly how his power works. And it's monster smut, people. It's straight monster smut. That's what it is. We have Jennifer and Raccoon. Jennifer's cat gets sick, and she goes to Raccoon, who's like this underground wizard, to seek this cure, and he can procure anything as long as you pay the payment. And the payment is on your knees, performing oral sex, because that's how his magic works. It's a definitely unique magic ability. I have never seen that one before. And honestly, this is probably the only man that can actually talk about, what it feels like to deliver something, because he does. He grows it in his ball sack and then ejaculates it out of his dick. So yeah, the toaster that she asked for. Sharp angles, people. Angles. So, what worked? Raccoon. Loved his character. Thought he was hilarious. Sorry, that was my duck. Loved his character. He didn't give a fuck, but at the same time, he he gave a fuck about Jennifer, which I thought was really, really cool, and his interactions with the crazy family, because she brings him to her Thanksgiving family as part of his payment. He's like, look, we're gonna do this, but I want you to take me to Thanksgiving because I can't go to my family this year, and I'll give you what you want. I'll heal your cat, and I'll give you whatever you want. So she goes and takes him Thanksgiving, and he is able to nullify every single crazy member of the family and still retain his dominance and still, like, be respectful of her at the same time and kind of stand up for her, and I thought it was fucking fantastic. What didn't work? You know what? It's Monster Smut. It was entertaining. I had a great fucking time with it. It was fun. I actually enjoyed reading this one a lot more than I did reading Jack. Yes, we have flavored come again, and this one he can change flavors. He can change flavors, guys. Yeah. I literally kind of wish this was a power that was actually real. I think that would be great. Just saying. But it was a good time. I had a good time with it. Gave it 3 stars. And she's got a few more of these holiday-themed eroticas that I plan on doing for the upcoming holidays, so keep your eyes peeled for those. But I did do a full reading vlog. It's linked up in the corner and will be down in the down box below. For Chili Peppers, it's graphic oral sex scenes, really intense. Yeah, those, because, I mean, yeah, they're there. And there's only one actual real penetration scene, and it was graphic, but it wasn't over the top. This book is about the oral sex scenes because they're fucking phenomenal. They're great. It was a good time, minus the turkey scene. That was kind of, I don't know how I feel about that one. But that is everything I read this month. That's everything I read this month, you guys. So not as much as previous months, but I had a good time. Nice to be November definitely worked for me. And so now we're going to draw my final TBR jar. I am not drawing out of my husband's because it was nice to be November, so I'm just not going to do it. No, I didn't complete my TBR, but the one book that I was okay with not starting is the only one I didn't start. So now I do have 2 more here because I did do a baker's dozen in this. So here's the final one, guys. The final one. There we go. My final TBR jar challenge for 2022 is, are you fucking kidding me? No! Read a book picked out by your husband. I'm not doing his jar, yet he still controls it. No! What in the absolute fuck is happening? I call rigged. He did that on purpose. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys all soon in another video. Bye.